Hello and welcome to another episode of Cyrils Brettspiele with
Andy Gott
and Garret Atkins.
Why your last names today? Doesn't matter. And Nils, of
Very
course.
important.
Yes,
Very
now they can
important.
look at all our
Find you on
information.
Facebook, right?
Find me all over the place.
All the girls
over.
adding him on Facebook.
No, we're both married.
All of
us.
them. Yeah.
All married.
Both. Sounds cool with 3 people.
All married.
Any good. Today we're talking about our wives and bring out your dad. Cool combination. Anyway, okay. The new upper deck game. Let's go to the rules. Andy, you want to go to the rules or?
No, I thought you were explaining the rules.
Okay.
You're a good explainer.
Fair enough, I will do it again. Hello and welcome to Bring Out Your Dad. So, what you're doing in this game is you have a family and lots of your family members passed away in the last week. So you have a lot of family members in this coffins here, and you try to bring that onto this graveyards into very good spots. Unfortunately, every other player has the same problem and want to get good spots on here. We play that game from 6 to 8 rounds roughly. There are 2 end game triggers. Either if we are running out of this card, they are maximum of 8 cards, or if you're running out of coffins before the game is over. You're flipping over a card at the beginning of the turn, and a card is also a card. So this Gravedigger card will fill up with coffins. And on this card there could be only a couple of spots in a 3-player game, for an example, only for 2 coffins, but other cards have in a 3-player game 6 spots. So there is a huge variety of spots on this card. So what you're doing is you're deciding if the card goes on this path of the graveyard or on this path, but this is not really important. Then each player has 5 same cards on his hand. These 5 cards, they all have numbers in the corner. In addition, you get fate cards over the course of the game, and treasure cards, they have also different numbers. Treasure cards have always 4s and fate cards have different numbers. What you're doing on your turn is you pick out of your hand cards 3 cards, let's say this, and whatever this let's say this card here, and play it face down. Everybody do that at the same time. Then we flip it around at the same time and sort that in numerical order. And we go from top to down. So starting with the number 10, we resolve the actions of the fate cards. There are a lot of cool stuff in it. Bring dads from one grave into another, swap, bring coffins right up in front of the card, and things like that. Gather more cards, things like that. These are usually one times only. The same with treasures, or set collection at the end of the game is treasures as well. But the fate cards are usually action cards. So, and then you're resolving this card. Beginning with the first player, who was a starting player, number 7 means you bring in a single coffin onto the card, indicated here on the symbol. Then goes in clockwise order to the next player, and he can bring in a single coffin. Let's assume we have this card here right now. Then the third player will get in a single coffin. Goes back to the number 6, and we load up the card like this. When the card is full and there are still coffins has to go on the card indicated by your cards you chosen before, then it goes in this area, and this area means the Gravedigger could be elderly and weak, so a day has only 10 hours of delivering the coffins to the grave. So if we later on in the turn bring all these coffins into the graves here, then all of them who are collecting in this area, not in the spots, going into the river. You get a little bit of a compensation for bringing your old family members into the river. This is action cards or treasure cards, but they also give minus points at the end of the game, and you don't want to have your family members into the river. Anyway, you're playing this game until you're running out of coffins, or if you're running out of these cards here, which is 8 cards. At the end of the game, you collect all the victory points from the graveyards indicated here. You have also set collection cards like this neglige, means if you have 1 card gives you 2, if you have 3 it gives you 10 points. You have also gemstones, which means every single dead body in the river gives you 3 points or things like that, a lot of stuff like this. You count up all the points, subtract the minus points, and that's technically more or less the whole game. Okay guys, we talked a lot of the rules, and technically I talked a lot of, so Garret, go ahead, let's talk about the components and the quality of the components.
When it comes to quality of components, I'm neither thrilled nor disappointed with the quality. I think that, you know, it's kind of typical standard board game. It's nothing that stands out, it's nothing I'm going to use in other things. I'm not going to want to paint these minis or anything like that. The cards are fine. Every game that you play with cards get bent and dented and that sort of thing if you continue to play with them. So sleeving probably would be a helpful idea for a number of these cards. I don't know if these are good cards to sleeve.
I don't know if it's... it might be a standard size you can find a sleeve for.
It's French Tarot size.
Oh, alright.
So it's I wouldn't call that standard in board games,
but you can get it. It is.
There's one company who's producing sleeves for that. Yes.
So that's problematic. If it's hard to get sleeves for the cards.
It's not hard. This is a well-known company.
Okay. Well,
so it's
that's fine.
But there's only one company.
Okay.
So, as far as I know.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It looks like a board game, and the cards seem fine. It's not beautiful. It's not ugly. It's not chintzy. It's not amazing.
I like the that they did these are all wooden. I like that. I mean, they could have gone with cardboard.
Oh yeah, correct.
They didn't, you know. So I appreciate that. I like the family crests. I think that's a pretty neat. Again, they could have gone with, you know, a generic kind of
tone.
Yeah, but yeah, these are pretty
colors,
just
right?
the design.
Yeah,
I like the designs on it. You got little lines. Anyways, but I'm partial to crests, I guess.
I definitely agree. I like that they took wood, and I like the family signs here on it. So I really like it, and I really appreciate that they don't took standard cardboard or even just small or large discs and colored discs.
Right.
But at the end of the day, for me, which is a little bit confusing me, this is a really big box, ticket to ride sized box. And what you see on the table, that's what is in the box. So assuming by putting that out of the shelf and thinking, oh, a big box game, I was a little bit disappointed what is in the game itself. So I would expect a huge big box game, and I got a bunch of cards, let's say in total 110 cards or things like that, a bunch of coffins, and that's it. So that was my, I don't know, did you have the same feeling?
I don't know. Maybe some people appreciate that is it the standard? It's the same size. So some people's, you know, game
for the shelf, okay. Yeah.
You know, so it's not an oblong or something. But you know, the one thing is the art. It's an interesting take on art. I guess it's not. It's a little cartoony, but you know, it's not super realistic, and I know that's not what they were going for. It doesn't bother me so much. Some artists, you know, you're kind of like turned off just by the pure art on the cards and things.
There's an interesting discussion about the art, so thanks for pointing that out. So it seems like they are different artists. So this guy looks totally different than this guy,
and then this guy's really realistic, and that's cartoony, and that's cartoon. Yeah.
So but anyway, so I'm not talking about that. That doesn't bother me at all. So, and the theme, speaking about the theme is for me strong enough, so it's a funny, morbid theme on this. So obviously bringing out your dead family members is not a funny thing, but in this game it looks funny, it makes totally sense to play that. Okay, so let's talk about the mechanisms. So you're so quiet today, what's wrong?
I'm tired.
Okay.
More copy.
You have a muck in front.
Where's the PA?
Yes.
Let's talk about the mechanics of the game. Is there something really innovative, new for you?
I think as we played and as we looked, I didn't see anything that was unique in terms of mechanics. Putting them all together in the way they did created a pretty high amount of balance. We played it a couple times. Our scores were always pretty close, even if we took wildly different strategies. And it was pretty much impossible to get no points. It was, you couldn't have, even when it looked like somebody was going to kill it, we were all pretty close. Within, we had a bigger swing one time than the others, but pretty close.
Yeah, I felt, with the randomization of the cards, none of the cards are so overpowered that, if you get one or two, and then you're gonna, it's gonna swing the game drastically. I feel like they did a pretty good job, even though they're divergent and they are different powers on how you move your graves around and your burials. But I liked some of the interesting mechanics, and once you get to know the iconography at the bottom, they have handy.
The iconography is.
Yeah, it's
not easy to learn.
So a couple of playthroughs you'll get it, and they have the handy
helper cards, reference cards. They are really good. Yeah, so for me it's also not really nothing new, but again it makes sense when you're playing it and it's fun. So on the other hand, it's only a 30-40 minute game if you're playing that quick and focused. So. If only if. And anyway, so what I really appreciate on it,
you must deliberate. Every decision must be deliberate.
Sometimes. So what I really like on it is there's not only a one-way winning strategy in the game. Make this and you will win the game. So this is pretty cool on that. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about critics. Do you have any critics, guys? Fire up. Now it's time for it.
Yeah, I think I have the same... Well, yeah. It's a little macabre. It's a little dark. I think that probably might not be a good game to play with people who've been grieving. It could be actually a game that some people would really not like, depending on how their experience with death has been. And then mild critique, but all these coffins have crosses on them. The game's covered with crosses. There are plenty of people that don't have crosses as part of their life.
Oh, religion thingies going on. Yeah, I see.
So, it didn't keep me from having a fun time, but I think that those would be real barriers.
Keep in mind we are gamers, so sometimes we are trying to kill the whole population of some worlds.
Right, we're gamers, but this is a pretty light game that seems like it should be an entry-level game.
Good point.
And, I've enjoyed playing this a few times. This is not the game that I'm going to put on my plan for what I'm playing at Geekway in 11 months.
Okay.
I know I'm playing Battlestar Galactica again. I'm not playing this one.
But this is your personal situation.
Right, this is my personal situation, but this is not...
Battlestar Galactica you.
Of course.
At Geekway.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Do you have any critics?
Maybe to piggyback on, I get where they're coming from. It's supposed to be, I felt, although the city doesn't look like, if it were an Old West theme, you're going to use crosses. But, I guess, some choices there. How about this? Some people might be put off.
Okay. Yeah, that's all.
And it might not be their cup of tea, just the theme, like Garret was saying. Another thing is there is some blocking going on, and there's some cards that allow you to swap, and so I know some people, so that is a little bit of player conflict. It's not a whole lot, and that could I guess hypothetically, some people don't like any player conflict.
Oh,
so there's a little bit of it.
This is just a small percentage.
Yeah, well, I know, but you know, you
yeah, you were right.
I had my thing on 11, and then you know, I thought I had my wrapped up the 11,
and
still
working the knife in your back.
Yeah, you know.
Okay,
a couple times.
I see. Sorry for that.
You know, and guess who won? So no, it wasn't.
That is the end of the day. The German wins.
Yeah, at the end of the day, right? But
it's not like getting double crossed by a toaster.
No.
But.
Oh no, not.
I mean, but even in that case, you swap out. It's not a big point swing. So the game's balanced. It's interesting. It doesn't go on too long.
Okay.
And you know, and I was the second time. It was a lot of fun to play. I would play it again if somebody were to suggest it.
In this game, I was a teacher, and I have to complain and talk a little bit about the rulebook. To be honest, the rulebook is horrible, really horrible. Sounds brutal and hard, but there are so many open questions and unexplained situations. So there's not even a single word directly pointing out that this is set collection, the treasures.
Yeah.
They said, okay, you keep that on your hand or you use it for straight 4 points, but there's never ever explained these things on here. Also, all the actions in here. So we had the situation, if you have this double coffin here and want to swap positions with a mass grave over here, you can't see it over there, where you get extra cards. Can you take that, or is that so there should be definitely a rulebook 2.0 or 3.0. So there are so many open questions in the book. They are not explained in the rulebook. So I barely saw a bad rulebook like this in the last 10 months. So I was really, yeah. Oh, let's point it out onto the table. I was really pissed off by the rulebook. Really pissed off. So it was a really bad experience reading that rulebook. What I really appreciate is rulebook is small onto the point, and it was small, only 8 pages or 7 pages with pictures. But yeah, still open questions. I had a lot of open questions. Okay, let's talk about the most important part in any game for me and in every single review. Fun and replayability. Overall, did you have a lot of fun while you're playing that game, and would you play it again?
Yeah, I had fun playing the game. I would play it again. There's still, I think, you know, I've played twice, and there's still more to explore in the cards and how that interacts, and you know, some different strategies on which side of the graveyards you know, you're picking.
Oh yeah, that brings a lot of spice into the game, that you pick the paws, and
because this last time we only pretty much worked on one side. This was pretty empty. So, and the first time it was, we went back and forth.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So yeah, there's some replayability here, I think.
Yeah, I had a good time with it. You know, I didn't feel deeply immersed in the theme, and that's usually my favorite thing about a game, but I had a fun time playing a really different strategy, especially the last time we played. Didn't work out, but I had a great time playing.
Anyway, you tried something new.
Tried something new, and yeah, I had a good time doing it. I'd play again. It's, you know, not going to be my very first pick, but it's a good time.
Okay. Yeah, I have to say, for me, the theme is strong enough, so I really like the black humor on being a little bit morbid and playing with that thing. So I really like this. Is my best point on the game. So replayability, there's enough, for me personally, enough variety in the fate cards and things like that, and choosing the path right or left side, that makes enough variety and replayability. So yeah, I always had a good time, but I definitely agree with exactly your sentence. It wouldn't be my first pick for a game. With one little exception, it's super easy, it's super light and super fast to play, and there are not so many big box games on the market. I know obviously there's always one I would pick first, but this is a good gateway game I would pick for definitely a lot of others. But let's go over to the points. Who want to start? Go ahead, fire.
I think the game's good. You know, it's not something I highly recommend.
Straight in the middle.
Yeah, straight in the middle.
Yeah, I would agree. It's good. It's a little different. The theme is, you know, you're not playing board games with burying your family theme. But there's enough there that it's. I think it's a good game.
As much as I would say a recommendation for the theme, as much as I like to, for me it's also only in the mediocre, in the good area, and especially because you need at least a good teacher or being very good in reading rules and making house rules, and don't be picky if not everything is explained in the rules. If you have a rule Nazi in your group and he is always looking at the rules and say, hey, this is not explained, then you maybe have no fun. So definitely that brings it down, maybe even lower than good. The theme itself would bring it up, so and overall I'm ending up in the middle.
Yeah, if you had a bad like rules stickler, rules lawyer, this game would be awful. Because they would just drag it down. Yeah. You'd spend an hour and a half or 2 hours fighting about every stupid rule you could possibly imagine. So if that's the situation you're in, this is a no-go.
I just learned a new word from you. Saying so much rule lawyer clings far more polite than rule Nazi.
Yes,
Anyway, this was our opinion of Bring Out Your Dad, and it was another episode of Cyrils Brettspiele with
Garret
and Andy
and Nils. See you next time, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.